Okay, good morning, everyone. Today is Friday. Isru Chag. We just finished a beautiful Yom Tov Shavuos. I hope everyone had a wonderful Yom Tov. Adam, were you at the bris? Nice. I hope everyone had a beautiful Yom Tov, some delicious cheesecake, received the Torah, and recommitted to embracing and studying and internalizing the Torah to the fullest extent possible. So now we're going to learn a little Tanya. We're on page 102 in Chayenu. Today's the 8th day of Sivan, June 14th. Overview of chapter 2 of Shar Yichud Ve'emunah. This is what we learned yesterday. This new section, Shar Yichud Ve'emunah, is the gateway to unity and faith. Shar, gate, Yichud, oneness, unity, and Emunah, unity and faith with Hashem, obviously. So in this chapter, Tanya establishes the difference between a something from something innovation and a something from nothing creation. The former being a one-time act and the latter ongoing. As we said yesterday, when a person says a word, it ends quickly. But when Hashem speaks, he brings about creation, and that utterance never ceases. Otherwise, that object will then revert back to nothingness forever. In this chapter, the Alter Rebbe explained, in the opening chapter, the Alter Rebbe explained that the divine life force, which brings all creatures into existence, must be constantly present within them in order to keep them alive, to keep them in existence. From the foregoing, the answer to the heretics may be deduced. What's their problem? The Gilui Shodesh to Usam. There is exposed the root of the error of those who are deemed heretics, not because they deny that God created the world. They believe God created the world, but they deny individual divine providence, and the signs and miracles recorded in the Torah. Hashem created the world, and once he created it, it's now on its own. Don't tell me God split the sea. Come on, you really believe that? You really believe God created 10 plagues on the Egyptians, miraculous plagues? Nah. These are all, it happened to be windy and rainy, and hail came down, and there was a famine, and the animals got sick, and disease spread. All these things have their explanation. But why do they deny this when they readily admit that Hashem created the world? That in itself is a mitzvah. If you look within the human body, we had a doctor over on Yontif by the night meals. And he just talks about how, before a surgery, he'll ask Hashem for help because he knows the intricacies of the human body are so incredibly perplexed that only Hashem can bring a patient through what he has to go through on the surgical table, number one. Number two, the healing process, and the whole thing is so miraculous. So we can find miracles in everything, but many people, the heretics, want to feel, Hashem created the world, and then it's on its own. Yes, there's a reason for that too. Hashem wants to be hidden among us so that we don't sense him, we don't feel him, and we have free choice to decide whether or not to believe in the Yichud and Emunah, right? In the unity and the faith in Hashem. They err in their false analogy. They compare the work of Hashem, creator of heaven and earth, to the work of man. When a silversmith completes a vessel, let's say he makes a beautiful washing cup, that vessel is no longer dependent upon the hands of the smith. Now it exists on its own. Even when his hands are removed from it and he leaves, he puts it down on a table, it's for sale, and he's not even there. The vessel remains exactly the same image and form from the time it left his hands. They see the world as the same way. Hashem created the heavens and earth, and then he steps aside. They cover their eyes. They don't see the great difference between Hashem's work and that of a man, which consists of making one thing out of something else. Whatever they made, whatever we make, if you have a hobby, if you, let's say you like to whittle, my kid Levi has a whittling set, bunch of tools, sharp knives. Of course, I cut myself as I was telling him not to cut himself, but he's being more careful. And he takes the whittling set and he's carving out something, maybe a yad for, like that was Steve's idea. Because it's the easiest thing. You have a stick and then you just shape the end and make it into a point. And however it comes out. What do we do when we did pottery as kids? It always was an ashtray. No matter what it came out to, it's an ashtray. So what are we doing? We're taking one thing and we're changing its shape and form and making it into something else. We're changing the form and appearance, meaning when we take a piece of silver and we turn it into a vessel, or into a piece of jewelry, or into the stick into something. So man's work is reshaping whatever was there. But when Hashem made the heavens and the earth, he created something from absolutely nothing that was previously there. Before heaven was created, there was simply nothing in existence. Only after it was created, now it came into being. This creation, something from nothing, is the greatest miracle you could ever imagine. Eibishter withheld nature for temporarily. But when he created the world, he created something out of absolute nothingness. When Hashem split the sea, he drove back the sea with a strong east wind all night. Hashem, the godly force that split the sea, clothed itself in the wind. So he used a different form of nature to hold back a different part of nature. The waters split. They didn't cease. The water didn't cease, but it was held back and it stood upright as a wall. If Hashem had stopped the wind, the water would instantly flow downward, as is its nature. And undoubtedly, they would not have stood up like a wall the way the miracle occurred. Even though this nature, the nature of water to flow downward, is also a new creation when it was first created. The stone wall stands by itself. It seems to be standing all by itself. But that wasn't its original nature. Hashem created that concept that a wall will stand up by itself. That the mechitza is not just going to crumble and fall apart. But without the assistance of the wind. The nature of the water is not so. The nature of the water is to constantly flow. So everything that has its nature, its natural instinct is for a predator animal to go and devour a gentler animal, for deer and cow to eat grass, for water to flow downward, for the sun to shine in the sky, for human beings to naturally be jealous or angry, or whatever nature we have. Hashem created that. So since water by nature does not stand upright but flows downward, an additional degree of creation, something from nothing, is called for. So the above demonstration that Hashem, that divine force, clothes itself in the wind, did not have to create yesh me'ayin, a new existence. It merely had to change one thing into another thing when it came to splitting of the sea. But in such situations, since a radical degree of change is involved when it comes to the splitting of the sea or anything miraculous, it's necessary for the power causing the change to affect the change. So the takeaway for today is the world cannot exist without Hashem's presence. Hashem brought the world into existence, something that was absolutely not there before. And since Hashem is present, there is natural divine providence and even the occasional open miracle. There are miracles that happen all the time. Just we have to recognize them and open our eyes and see how miraculous it is that the grass keeps on growing and the sun keeps on rising and everything is so wonderful and beautiful. And at the same time, like we said in Yontif, we also remember those that are less fortunate and need miracles. Bring them home now. Have a wonderful day and a good Shabbos. It's Friday today, don't forget. Okay, and though, as a reminder, we don't say Tachnun until my birthday is completed. Good base.